I just, at any random point that I choose, I just hit start recording.
Yeah. Have we done that?
So you learn quickly not to say anything
We
stupid.
were
Feel free to discuss contentious political issues, Steve.
Okay.
Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. We are here to talk about shooting. On deck tonight, we got a pretty full crew. Coming at you from the Pacific Northwest, we have Mr. Kim.
Hello.
From the Midwest, well, we have Mr. Hopkins, and then in the slightly shittier part of the Midwest, we have Mr. Joel.
Thank you very little. Hello.
And the superior part of the Midwest, we have me.
Oh.
Superior part.
The better part of the middle part.
I've been
Nearly
there before.
Canada.
I don't think that's factual, Ben. I've been to your place before.
Shit, Joel. You know, I've been to Omaha, and the airport sucks. It's way better up here.
Oh yeah, that's why you
don't
fly
even have an
into.
airport in your
I was
town.
gonna say that's why you fly into Minneapolis, right? Because you have such a great airport.
1000%. Okay, and Steve Newell is here from California.
What's up?
And well, you're in the Midwest, but we're counting you as West Coast.
That's fine.
Okay.
Me and Kimmy will fight you guys.
Shit, I don't actually like that deal.
Like a real fight or a shooting match fight?
It's a figurative fight.
I don't actually like that deal either way. A physical confrontation obviously would be bad.
Yeah, but we have 3. They only have 2.
Look at the dude
catch you in the
sitting
hallway.
next to me.
We'll catch you in the hallway when you're not.
Hopkins, he could bench press 2 of you.
That'd be impressive, honestly.
It wouldn't-
Oh, I
But I
think
figure if he can bench press 2 of you, he could at least rip my leg off or something.
Steven and I are only veterans here too.
Yeah,
That's actually true.
that's true, huh?
Yeah.
Military versus civilian then.
Yeah, we got this.
I got
Kenny.
I'm a Call of Duty veteran. Does that
Thank you for your
count
service.
for anything?
Bitches.
Oh, that sounds, yeah, that's legit.
Yes.
It's a real world thing.
All right. Okay. I know you guys love the banter, but we got to get to it. Everybody comes here with a topic, and then we have some questions. We have things to talk about. So I guess we'll get started. Joel, do you want to go first?
I can if you'd like me to.
I have no preference.
I'm more interested in what you goons have been up to this week, actually.
We're training. We're working on shooting better.
We shot a match. It was fun.
Tell me more.
Shooting match.
We did. shoot.
My God.
It was a match.
It was a match.
There was about 20 minutes where we didn't know when what the pads went. That was fun.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've been training. Well, I think you guys have all had this experience of hanging out with me and training.
Mhm.
It's not anything different than that. Steve doesn't want to talk about it, but I'll talk about it. We've been working on Go Stop. So introduce Steve to that. All the guys on training group are going crazy about Go Stop right
I
now.
specifically waited to come here to test Go Stop.
Well, we've been doing that. We've been working on some theory as far as regripping the gun, indexing, and shooting, which has been good. There'll be a training group video coming regarding that when we finish up. We're a little early now to put anything like that out there, but we've been training, pushing each other, learning what we can, doing that whole thing, and that is excellent. And we've been socially distancing.
I see that.
Yeah, we can tell.
Right now, prime example.
Okay, so that's what's going on with us. Now we want to hear what you're doing, Joel.
Oh. Well, I don't have anything interesting to talk about, but I want to talk about actually. I mean, this is like I like the double alpha grip stuff, but pro grips, grip enhancer, whatever. When I started,
You're saying you like all of the grip things?
I like all the stuff. I like this double alpha grip stuff a little bit better because it's not so messy. But more than whatever product you choose, I don't really care.
Let me see that. Like, what's the brand on that? It's double alpha grips.
Correct.
It's called grips, but it's with a Z.
Yes,
So it's
correct.
cool.
It seems like this stuff's not as messy, but honestly, I don't. If you have one you like, whatever, it doesn't matter. When I started using Pro Grip, it was like people that use Pro Grips had to like dump so much in their hand and then like cover both hands. It was just stupid to me. So I've changed how I use Pro Grip a lot. At first, I didn't like it at all because I just had like some maybe negative experiences where my hands were way too dry. So now the way I like using Pro Grip, like I dry fire everything with it, is when I apply it, I put it on my support hand, and then I use my support hand to apply it to the back of my firing hand. So basically, I make sure my two hands stick together. Like for the audio people, sorry, you're screwed. But yeah, like what Ben's showing. So I put it on my support hand. Comes on the back of my firing hand. My two hands stay together, but I want absolutely none on the palm of my firing hand. And the reason for that is gripping the gun for me is not a problem, right, Ben? Like in class, we see most people. You don't tell people, I mean, for the most part, hey, you're not gripping the gun hard enough with your firing hand, right?
That would not be. Yeah, that's not your issue.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that hand stays put. But like gun handling things, or maybe I draw the gun and I don't get quite the right draw, and I want to like squirm the gun a little bit, or when I flip the gun a little bit to the mag release button. If that hand's like all full of pro grip, I feel like I can't manipulate the gun. Sorry if I can talk, or flip the gun a little bit in my grip if I need to. So I strongly prefer not having any pro grip inside my firing hand. And once I started doing that, I don't know, last year, and that made a world of difference compared to the original, like just dump it on both hands. Or you see like some people, you think they've almost got up to their elbows. They've got like so much pro grip on. So like I said, just a little bit, just to keep my firing hand, my support hand together so they don't separate, and that's it. So anyway, if you're not using pro grip, I think you should be. But I've given that specific, like the way I apply it, I've recommended that to a couple people, and they really liked it. So if that's helpful, you should try it.
I want to try that, Joel.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, yeah, because think about it. What if you get a bad grip and the gun's like, it's not quite where you want it, and it sticks in your hand? Like, it's tougher to move, right?
Yeah,
No, that's true.
especially with how much reloading prod guys have to do.
Yeah.
And if you have to switch your grip for that, then I can see that definitely being a hindrance.
I will try this at my next practice session, Joel.
Good.
Just,
Please
just one question. How
Yeah.
long does it last in your hands?
It depends. For me, I don't like a ton. I just want my hands to be dry. So if it's super sweaty, maybe I'll reapply every stage.
So if it's
Maybe it'll be a
like,
couple.
if it's in Nebraska, you're reapplying every stage, Mr.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
usually.
Okay.
But
Because
but
for me, pro grip, I use like the Texas match I shot. I use maybe every 3 stages, once 3-4 stages.
In February?
Yeah, in February.
Oh my gosh.
oh, Kim, I'm glad you brought this up.
Omaha,
So,
like if you go shoot area 3, you probably stop in the middle of the stage to put on more pro grip and keep going.
okay,
What you're gonna do?
one thing I forgot to
That's
bring up. Important part, I tell if I'm going to use pro grip. I make a fist. We're just going to like loosely grip the gun with my firing hand. I put my support hand on the back, and then I just basically pull. And if that hand, like if I feel my support hand kind of sliding off my firing hand, like that's not going to work. I need more pro grip.
Right.
And I do that kind of like right before when I'm doing my last walkthrough. I'm kind of visualizing. I'm kind of getting ready. I just check my hands like that, put my hands together, and if I pull very, very hard, and if they stay put, cool. And if I feel my hand sliding, I'm like, yep, that's not going to work. I need pro grip, and I need it now. So then I apply it, let my hands dry, check it again. As long as they stay together, I'm good to roll. Because for me, the only reason to use pro grip is to keep your firing hand and support hand together.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a pretty good tip, Joel. You're always trying to be helpful. It's kind
I
of
try.
infuriating sometimes, but whatever.
It made a world of difference to me. Because otherwise, when you coat both hands, you have it all over the place. It's just too much. Like I
will say, if you're shooting carry optics or limited or open, where you have the magazines that are sensitive to issues, we'll say, you get pro grip all over your hands, and then you're getting it on the rounds you're loading in there, and that can cause a problem. So, I mean, if you're keeping it off of your firing hand, that would be a good thing, I would think. So, I will give it a try.
cool.
Well, who wants to go? Maybe somebody else.
I'm
All
not
right.
letting that.
I
chance
don't.
cross
No,
and go first.
Kim can wait. No.
Yeah.
Matt,
No?
what do you have to talk about?
So I want to do this week in shooting. So
Are
we
you allowed
just
to shoot?
heard. Yeah. So we just heard that the IPSC World Shoot is delayed now. So the 2020 World Shoot will now be in 2021. What do you guys think about that?
I think I'm world champion for an extra year.
There you
Ooh,
go.
Yeah, there you go. You're the first 4-year
Yeah. So
production IPSC production world champion, right?
I mean, aside from that, I don't really see what, like, really realistically, they didn't really have much of a choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a lot of. I mean, to go real conspiracy theory here, like everybody's tired of this. Everybody's like wanting to go back. Everything's been proven that they get more money for COVID-19. The statistics of people dying like on the reg Like every day in New York is no different now than it was before. They're just contributing everything to COVID because they get more money for it. But I guess
Okay.
I did go pretty deep down the conspiracy hole there.
You didn't go that deep. Okay, that's your conspiracy theory. Cool.
I don't know.
No, I think it made sense to delay
Wait,
it
so
though.
wait, so Matt, am I hearing you're disappointed that this got delayed?
I don't know. I think so. My personal opinion is switching to the optic. I like it, so I get an extra year of learning it and training on it and shooting matches and everything else. So I get more time to do it.
I think things were just going to be so iffy this year. It was actually probably kind of helpful for a lot of regions just to give them the certainty that World Shoot's going to be a different year,
So I like that.
they
I
can
like
move around
that.
their national matches and do what they need to do.
Exactly. I
to
like
make
that
stuff-
aspect. I'm glad they made the decision now than wait till September.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it was better to announce now and just do it because, hell, if this thing lasts for another year and a half, we're all going to be zombies at that point, right?
This is true.
Another year and a half of this would not be too good.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah, I agree, because that would be super disappointing if you trained up super hard all year and you had all this travel and visas and whatever garbage you guys need, and then it's like 2 months out, you're like, hey, guess what? You're not going, and you're like at the very peak of your all-time peak of your shooting, and you've got all this money invested in travel and all this preparation. You do all that for nothing would be really frustrating. So
Yeah, 100%.
I agree. It was
So
smart just to
I'm
do
happy.
it now.
I'm glad they did it, but I would have been fine with them having it this year also.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did it at this time frame, not waiting later.
Yes. I mean, I agree. I think they did really the only thing they could really, and they noticed they pushed everything back.
Yeah, they moved every World Shoot. So instead of stack 3 in 1 year, they moved the Shotgun and PCC
Yeah.
World Shoot back to 2022 now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not surprised, and it was probably what they thought was the best thing.
Oh, one thing that there has been some talk on, USPSA sent a note out about all the people on the teams and got slots and everything. They're doing nothing different. They're just continuing on. If you got a slot or on a team, you're on the team for 21.
Again, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, 100%.
Is 2020 still not going to contribute for points for the one after that?
It wouldn't
So-
anyway, I don't think.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it still going to be that case?
I think so.
It'll depend, I guess, if they go to a 2-year cycle after this to get back on track or not. I doubt they do that. So
I would
think
personally, I wouldn't
21.
like it. I don't really like a 2-year cycle, but
So that means 2020 and 2021 wouldn't be World Shoot points?
well,
That's
up
what
to
I would
us.
assume.
Well, no, this is up to on our end. So I think the USPSA president will just make that decision, and usually, correct me if this is wrong, Matt, but it's right after the start of the season after World Shoot. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's usually decided at the in-person board meeting after the World Shoot,
Yeah, and that
which is the first year of the 2 years of qualifiers.
yeah. So that'll be
So if tradition stands and they move the 2023 World Shoot to 2024 because everything else moved, 2022 and 2023 will be qualifier years for World Shoot in 2024.
well.
If they keep everything the same, and I mean, if it's like divisions, they won't be able to change it. No one took that seriously.
What?
They won't change divisions.
Yeah, they won't kill divisions, so they're not going to
I
change.
thought
Like
I thought the division rules were very amenable to change.
no, the number of divisions.
Oh well,
We might have
it moves
more by
in one
then.
direction only is what I thought.
Yeah, that's true.
You can change it, but in one direction.
And you can only add; you can never remove.
Well, okay. Good discussion as always. Mr. Stevie, would you like to
Sure.
share?
So it's actually something I stumbled on earlier today. I was like taking a break from dry fire.
We have a rules discussion, guys. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Steve posed a question to me that was
I just thought it was
interesting
interesting.
enough.
So Polymer 80, you guys familiar with that company? At
Yeah.
all?
We'll come.
Polymer 80.
I'll just explain.
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Polymer 80 makes like 80% Glock frames. So you can do whatever you want with that information. But they started making P320 grip modules as well. So I was looking at them and I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I came and talked to Ben. My question was, from a rules perspective in production division, would you consider a grip module, like an aftermarket grip module like that, not from SIG, equivalent to essentially replacing like grip panels and be allowed for production, or would you consider it like excessive frame modification and not count?
It's probably too difficult for the range officers to determine. So even if it has a built-in mag well, you can't expect them to be an expert. So just roll with it, right?
That's kind of
That was what I told him would be likely be the position of.
I'm more interested in what your guys' opinions are of it rather than what we think the call would be.
So Wilson also has one.
Do they?
I would say it's like an aftermarket part.
To me, it's like replacing grip panels. I think it's essentially equivalent to that.
I think it has to be because that's how the gun was designed. And I think that's one of the issues that the board and president have been like trying to get across to the board about all the different changes. Like this is just the start. So what if some other company, Zev, comes up with a 320 frame? Why wouldn't they be able to use that?
Yeah, Ben didn't agree with that interpretation.
What do you mean?
What do you think?
That I think of it essentially as, switching grips out.
What do you mean? No, I that sounds reasonable to me personally. If I were Troy and I got the question, I would say I would look at it and be like, the rules aren't really written for this. Right? I can look at it and be like, it's like changing a grip, but the rules aren't written for this. So if I'm like the director of the NROI, and I would look at this and be like, the rules aren't written for this. I see what you see, but I'm going to have the board address this and write the rules to clarify for this is the way I would think it should be handled. So I would say,
Ooh, I got a what if.
Go ahead.
So 320 is what do they call that thing?
Module
The chassis. It's a chassis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if, say, a company comes out with a grip module with a new mag catch that you can put an STI 2011 mag in it and run 9 minor in it and have the added capacity. So you have 25 rounds in the mag? So then you would have an advantage over every single platform out there, right? And it would still be technically a 320, would it not?
And it adapts to take different mags.
And it would still fit 140 mags in the gauge. It'd be legal under the rules.
Matt, I don't like I said, I don't think the rules are really written with this in mind. And this would be one of those things where instead of having people kind of look the other way for a couple years and then the board just says, yep, it's allowed, when it's kind of like a gray area for a while, they should just get out in front of it and, address it now. But that, I don't really think that's been the approach. So
Tell me more.
What I think would happen is that they'll just say, yes, it's a grip. Yes, it's legal. That's what I would expect would happen if I was guessing.
Did anybody read the new updates on the rules to see if they didn't maybe address this and slip the grip word in there as a approved aftermarket component?
I did not read it with that in mind. I don't remember the rules update, and
I don't.
I
like the 2019 ones, but
the way that things change, I would suppose they would allow pretty much anything like this in production or CO. I don't see why they wouldn't.
With the way they're going, yeah.
With the way things go, I don't see why not. As far as they're concerned, I don't see why they would. Is that all we got, Matt? Are you reading now?
I'm gonna have something to do while Kim does his topic.
Okay. Mr. Kim, tell us about
Yes.
your 223 rifle you have there.
So after the season was over last year, I wanted to get my arms rest a little bit, my body rest a little bit. So I just wanted to try rifles. And then very fortunately, all the 223 ammo on the market was all gun. Yeah, good for economy, and was that preppers and Timmy's. So when I used up my 223 ammo, I bought PCC. So if you see a video right here, it's basically I bought all the parts and then built up. It's pretty budget build. So the setup was about $1,000, I think, without optic. So when I got him, it's not working. So I text everybody who's shooting PCC. So PCC is super easy to shoot, but if you build one on your own, you're gonna expect to do also stuff. So I shot handgun pistol ammo through it, and now the power factor was 160 plus power factor, which was way not necessary. So now, like if I want to shoot it with a realistic recoil, then I have to make separate ammo for PCC, and like there's so much tinkering in it, like magazine extension, and depends on the barrel, the magazine lib, you have to file a little bit, all those kind of BS. I was fortunate enough to have people who shoot PCC, so I didn't have to research a whole lot to get it reliable or more reliable. It's not 100% yet, but my experience with it is when I haven't shot it that many sessions with it, maybe 4 sessions, not too many rounds, but the first thought I had when I shot PCC was that it's not meant for handgun matches. The gun is way more capable of than the difficulty we shoot with a handgun match.
Christ. It's like I'm getting it's like a time capsule. We're back in 2017.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I heard there's
a handgun match.
PCC dedicated nationals this year, and the World Shoot, there's a PCC dedicated World Shoot too. So I think that's a good move. But generally, shooting a PCC in a regular handgun match, I think first, it's not going to be compared to handguns, because shooting 30 yards, 40 yards with a handgun is basically testing your maximum capacity with your gun. But anything beyond 50 yards with a handgun is going to be kind of over the handgun's capability. Especially production division, there are not that many guns that can produce 6-inch group at 50 yards very reliably with a mixed brass hand loads. But PCC, I shot at 50 yards and just everything goes into the fist size very easily, and the gun is very stable. So I think it's an interesting thought. I haven't shot a match with it. I might want to try at least once. But
so you like the idea of a standalone PCC?
I really like. Yes, I really like it. I think that was a very good move.
I think anything over state level match, so what level 2 or higher, should have a PCC specific match.
Oh, Matt, if you were the king, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
I would sign up for that. Yeah, vote for Matt.
Just write him in on the ballot.
Have you learned anything shooting it, Kim, other than having fun? Has it taught you anything so far? I know you haven't had it that long.
I had it for about 2 weeks now. The first week was all tinkering to make it reliable. So it's pretty recent that my gun actually started running. But when it started running, and actually...
Of course.
So I shot, if I give you a number, I shot about 1,000 handgun load, like 160 power factor. It kind of bruised my chest.
Oh my gosh.
And I shot about 500 rounds PCC ammo I recently made. There was a lot better experience on my shoulder and stuff. But when I have everything dialed down, it was extremely easy. I couldn't believe how fast I can split at 20 yards with it.
What type of splits?
Like as fast as you could pull the trigger.
Kind of.
He's ripping
Close to jail, somewhere around jailbait splits, I would say.
Somewhere around.
Or
What's
fast.
Slow, yeah.
Jailbait is
700. Yeah.
well, I know, but it's fuzzy. Like when
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're about to.
Barely 2 digits.
Don't know what jailbait is?
I'm just saying, don't make assumptions about what jailbait is. Like the laws are different in different states.
Depending on your religion.
And countries.
Jesus Christ. This podcast is going great. Bang up.
Kim brought the PCC. It's his fault.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Kim, a serious question for you. What would you train? Well, how about this? Yeah. What will you train for PCC?
After the first session, I had a very good idea how to portion my training. Depends on the topic. So let's talk about 4 topics. So shooting fundamentals, the trigger control, recoil management in one, and then the second one, let's say the transition, target transition, movement, gun handling. Gun handling, I mean, there's nothing really to it. So like 1% to 2% of your training should be gun handling. And then for recoil management, it's probably around 10%. And I think transition and movement with it is like 50% of your resource.
Yeah. So that's what I would think is you'd be really heavy on movement and target transitions just to get on target as aggressively as you can because the shooting mechanics are pretty easy.
Exactly.
It's not really your issue. I would train gun handling a little bit though, my man.
Because it's low ready all the time. So I don't think
you got to be able to load it. You got to be able to load it from empty, and you have to be able to switch to shoot weak side.
Oh, weak side. I haven't thought of that.
I didn't think you thought about that when you said gun handling, nothing to it, maybe 1%. I'm like, ooh. You might want to think that through a little bit more.
Again, I have no idea what the rules are in USPSA yet. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know what kind of gun handling is required. But so far, with the giant magwell, reloading was extremely easy. But there was a little bit of learning curve. The bullet
you got to learn how to clear malfunctions too.
That I didn't.
Those are totally different with rifles, believe me.
I didn't need to separate my time to practice that, if that makes sense.
Plenty of practice.
Was there every 10 to 20 rounds, first 1,000 rounds? I didn't have to spend extra time on that. Just was there. But then the way I reload is different. The bullet's usually facing out, but now the magazine is flipped backward. So I am not gripping with the index finger tip of the bullet like a handgun I would. With PCC, I would have the bullet down, so I'm grabbing with like a hammer grip.
Beer can.
Beer can grip, yes.
Beer can grip.
Beer can grip, yeah.
Got one in the lingo, man.
Yeah, that was it.
All right.
Pretty fun.
That was lots of fun.
Yeah.
You're a very strange man. So I've been looking into PCC, guys.
He was bored. Come on.
That's what it took.
Well, I mean, Kim and I had talked privately. He had a rifle and a proper caliber. He ran out of ammo. There was none to be had. He still wanted to mess around with it, so he just bought something so he could still train with the rifle.
I think you should have stepped up and been a good friend and shipped him a few hundred rounds so he could train with his rifle.
That would be a good idea.
That would have been a good idea.
I should have done that.
It doesn't really take that much ammo to train the rifle, as far as I'm concerned.
I should have been a good friend.
Now Joel's thinking about what a bad person he is right now.
I am.
He had an opportunity to help, and he didn't take it. He's going to lose sleep over this.
I feel ashamed.
I promise you that. No, Steve, Joel is
a shitty friend because you let your friend shoot PCC.
Well, no, Joel is so pathologically nice that he has to help. He can't help himself.
I don't know.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, Joan, this was a lot of fun. Should we take a question?
I can't wait. It sounds like it's going to be a good one.
Oh yeah. So Joel heard some of the banter pre-show, because you guys don't know what the question is, but I read it and it's awesome. So here we go, guys. Hey Ben, I'm going to take a class with Mike Seeklander and Rob Latham in the fall. I'm wondering if it is expected to tip the instructors. If yes, how much is typical? I'm going to answer that yes. It's unusual that I'll go to a class and not get a tip from every student. And most people tip $100. That's the norm. Okay, secondly, I was wondering about a drill that would be easy to set up, test multiple skills that I could use as a measuring stick to monitor progress. I would
The
run it
first
in the
part,
spring.
that was a
What?
joke, by the way. Ben was joking. He was not being serious.
Well, what?
The tip.
What do you mean?
Well, you haven't got $100 tip yet, Joel?
No, I must be doing it
No,
wrong.
typically, I pick up I pull 100 off every student in a class. It's
I
normal.
believe you. This is my believing you face.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been tipped more. I've been stiffed. I get not tipped
You
occasionally.
get the tip and get stiff.
No, you're paying the tuition to be there. You're not obligated to tip the instructor.
What?
Very sorry, Ben.
You're right.
You're,
No, nobody fucking tips. What is this guy talking about?
The instructor's not there for free. You're already
He's not a waitress.
no. You're already paying the tuition that the instructor has chosen as.
Being honest, I have been tipped a few times, and it's much appreciated. Don't get me wrong. It's a little weird, but it's cool.
I did have a student in some of my private coaching tip me because he thought he was such a bad student that he needed to pay me extra.
And
I was just like,
you're like, no, I was in the Marines.
yeah, I dealt with plenty of dipshits. Like, you're fine, man.
Okay.
Like, half my platoon was from Texas. Ugh.
Oh boy.
Those are fighting words. Like Texans get really,
That's why I said it.
they get really upset
Yeah, no.
about
I
their
listened with
state
them.
being the best state of the states.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything's better in Texas, especially the retards.
Alrighty. So, what drill would be a good benchmark drill? What do you say, guys?
Wait, what is the rest?
He wants a drill that tests multiple skills, and he could use it as a measuring stick to monitor progress.
Doubles.
It doesn't as
Group
maybe
shooting.
broad of an array of things. Group shooting, says Matt. Okay, well, we got 40% of us have spoken, and nobody's been successful yet. We'll try again.
Accelerator's a good one because you have gun handling, draw, load, close, medium, far range targets.
Joel, quick question. If I've set up accelerator,
Uh-huh.
so those who aren't familiar with it, it's 3 targets, 7, 15, 25, shoot each target, reload, shoot each one again. What else have I set up if I set up accelerator?
You set up distance change up.
I've set up build drills. I can do build at each distance.
El Prez, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Crisscross.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can shoot it at different. Yeah, of course.
That would probably be, like, that's a good pick. I like accelerator, the El Prez target array. Obviously, there's lots of possibilities there. What I would recommend if this guy's doing in the spring and then every couple months, I wouldn't do just one drill. I mean, I would do a few, maybe just one, set up the targets once, and then do a few different things and do it a few times to get a really good idea of kind of how different things are going.
I like the bunny hop drill.
That's a good one.
I like
Or
that one.
Bunny
Okay.
stack. Good one.
I like
If
that.
I could make a recommendation, so a very good friend of mine, Ben, that you would know, well, you guys would all know, he was starting to train together, and he wanted a way to measure his progress. So I'm like, okay, I give him some drills, and maybe 3 years in a row, he'd set him up every year. I said, okay, so here's the deal. It's crisscross. I think I did a build drill, accelerator, distance change up, I think was the lineup. And so you when you start training up, you do your dry fire stuff. Maybe you get a month of training, and then you measure where you're at. And that was what he did. He kept an Excel sheet, and then he did like, okay, you need to do at least 4 runs. You average them, so it's not just a high and a low. And then that was what he did. I think it was like 3 years in a row where every year he'd do those drills, and he would see the numbers, because they're testing different skills, and he felt like he was improving based on that. And for the way he works, he thought that was very helpful.
Yeah, so it'd be similar to what kind of what I've taught. I mean, if you set up
Yep.
accelerators, you have accelerator, run it a few times, run a few different orders, do some build drills or some gun handling stuff on the targets at different ranges, and you'll see draw times, reload times, you'll see hits. You can do, and kind of put it together and pay attention to it, and it'll give you a pretty good idea. Yes, so that would be what I would recommend. And as far as the tipping, thanks for cockblocking, Joe.
Very sorry.
If I could just get one person, like just one person this year that walks up and like they have it in their head that they're supposed to tip me,
Hmm.
and then they pull out $100 bill and I make fun of them. Joel, you ruined that moment. You
Very
ruined it.
sorry.
Damn.
I'm very sorry. No, I won't say anything else, but no. Sorry.
It's like you don't want me to make money. God damn.
No,
I'm
I
in
don't.
business. All right. Well, guys, I'm having fun, so I think we should do another question. That's what I'm kind of thinking. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
Right.
All right. This will be a fun one. Why does USPSA treat nationals like a chore? Should it be their premier event of the year rather than a match they do because they have to do it? They don't really do anything special there. It's like an area match at best and usually not as good. Is it because USPSA doesn't really care, or are they just willing to accept mediocrity? I've not been shooting long, about 10 years, but the stages aren't that great. I've started shooting IDPA. I know you aren't a fan, but they have a lot of interesting stages with a lot of different type of gizmos with quite a bit of planning going into all levels of their matches. Why don't the people running USPSA Nationals put the same effort into building better stages and running the best match of the year? The shit is getting old, so I probably won't shoot them anymore unless they start delivering a better product. That's what we've got here. That was the email I had. So
that just is a topic Joel will not even touch.
no, Joel's not going to talk about this.
Ben and I have talked about this privately. No,
Yeah, we talked about it privately, and Joel's like, listen, as far as I'm concerned, is you're going to get Hopkins. He's gonna drink some alcohol, and then he's going to go on the podcast and talk, and I will just let him speak for me. No. All right. So to start with this email, do you agree generally with the sentiment?
I personally don't.
I don't either, really. It sounds like the guy wants a bunch of carnival, like prop heavy, like manipulation stuff you'll never see anywhere else. And that's not what I see nationals as. Nationals should test the shooting skills of the competitors and who's the best shooter. It shouldn't be who can manipulate this prop or like work through this problem that's no one's ever seen before and then start shooting, or shoot and then manipulate this prop and then shoot.
Okay, the prop thing aside, when he says in here,
I
they
think
don't
he was
do
talking
anything
about
really special. It is like an area match at best and usually not as good. What do you say about that? I think it depends on the area match very much.
Yeah. I haven't been to that many, but Area 2, the year I went, was just like, here's swingers. Whoever can shoot swingers the best wins. Cool, thanks, man.
No?
I mean,
find it
my
interesting.
overall, so I agree with the sentiment a little bit. I don't think Nationals is anywhere like near the way it should be. Like, it is the most prestigious match in the U.S. We have the most shooters in the world. We should have the best match.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. When I've been shooting nationals a bit longer, like maybe 14 years or something. It is fundamentally no different or better really than it was when I started. I think it's fair to say. It is basically unchanged. It's a match they put on the match, there you go. I think in 2018 when they did the 9 days of nationals, that was probably the most effort I saw put into it. As far as making it
the classifier nationals.
Yes, that
Yeah.
I mean that was what
There
was
was a lot of
I
after
feel
the
like-
fact
I
though
feel
on
like
that.
they really tried.
Yeah,
No, they
I
did. They
agree.
had a nice
Like-
award ceremony after each match that they had food catered at. They had a sponsor provide beer for the award ceremony. That all was really good.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
the level
personally
of the
my
match-
best experience too.
Exactly. Yeah. The level of that match, maybe not the stages. We're not talking about that. But the level of the match, like production and the other side things like the awards, was definitely improved.
Mhm.
It's probably the best one I've seen.
Well, hold on. I don't think that's improved from when we started going to nationals though.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
being-
100%,
I don't think so.
100% is. They've never had an actual like dinner provided at nationals since I've started competing.
I've been to them where they have the banquet.
Is it just hors d'oeuvres or is it
No,
dinner?
it's like it was like proper food. I'm not
Okay,
saying
I
it was good. I've seen that.
I haven't. I only missed 2009.
2017 Nationals had a banquet, Utah.
But
Yes.
they didn't have actual
Yeah.
like dinner. They had like they
Oh.
definitely had a banquet and they had a room and everything, but it just wasn't like sit down dinner. And I don't know. I'm just saying that. Like I could care less. Like I think I ate beforehand. on
Yeah.
2 out of 3 of them.
All right. The one part of this, like that speaks to me, it should be the premier event of the year rather than a match they do because they have to do it. I look at it and I'm like, yep, it's a thing they have to do. And if you look at kind of like USPSA marketing materials, it's Steel Nationals, Steel Challenge, Multi-Gun Nationals, now it's PCC Nationals, and then there'll be however many handgun. There's so many of these national level events to do that I don't know anybody, like being honest, I don't know anybody that can take an event like that and like go all in on it and do really cool, really interesting, really creative stuff 6 times a year. There's just
It's super
nobody's
hard.
nobody's able to do that. It's impossible.
With the manpower they have currently.
Well, it's not even so much manpower. It's like there has to be like a like a creative person like at the head of it, like to like kind of take ownership and make it into something interesting.
It's also very hard because they don't have the same location. It's always in a different spot.
Yes. Now, I mean, like the organizational problem is like, do you think the organization should have that many events that they feel obligated to put on? Like that's a different question. But like the fact is, like they kind of have all those obligations like to do, and it's not going to feel very special to the people that do it. Like it's almost like an assembly line thing or like a process that the people who do it, like, yeah, they know what their jobs are and they do this and this, and it ends up being kind of samey because it's the same people doing the same thing, putting on the match and making sure that it happens, and like whatever. It's very difficult to approach anything like that. I mean, imagine if if Joel and I had to write 6 books a year. If I had a gun to my head to do 6 a year, as opposed to I can do 1 a year, kind of as I feel like it. It ends up being a totally different circumstance.
Yeah, the product's going to have to suffer in that situation. It would have to.
It has to. It sucks the energy out of you. You're doing crap that you don't necessarily want to do. How about this? I don't even know anybody that cares about all of those events.
All of them combined? No,
nobody cares.
No one compare, like, no, not at all.
So how can you like energetically and enthusiastically and kind of like move the ball forward and do different interesting shit every year? There's not energy.
So what would you suggest?
I would say smoke events that are stupid is what I would say. Do I think that you?
So there's no point to. So I think this is an easy example. There's no point to have a Steel Nationals and a World Shoot, right?
Right, because a World Shoot's not a World Shoot because it doesn't draw international talent. It's a farce. So just have your like World Series of Shooting, whatever you want to call it. Have that, and why have the Nationals? It makes no sense.
Yep, you're 100% right on that.
That's
an easy one to smoke.
Like, that's an issue. There isn't really a USPSA multi-gun like that's in effect around the country, but
there's one a year.
Yeah, there you go. Like, is that something that if I were USPSA president, would I think? I mean, this makes no sense for this to take any of my time. This is stupid. I would be not happy about that.
I think the only reason that is still a thing is because USPSA controls the IPSC slots, and they need some way of determining those slots.
Okay.
I would not run a nationals. I would figure a way to to allocate those slots based on other things.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's in my view that's kind of the way I look at it. Like nationals is fundamentally not really different than it used to be, as far as I'm concerned. Stages aren't. It's not really better or worse. I mean, officiating's probably worse than it has been, but that's not really. It's really neither here nor there. It's just it is what it is, I guess.
What I think about the stages, so since 2015, I shot every nationals. I've seen improvements on small courses though. Like big field courses, I don't feel much different than 2015 and 2019. But the small courses has been kind of influenced by IPSC, I believe. So there's now small courses has more movements in it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people kind of making noise about it. I mean, people are kind of it's slow to change, but people are kind of like Virginia Town's kind of dumb. the idea that short courses are always like this old school classifier style thing, that's changing. People are changing their thinking, and they're seeing that short courses can be really interesting. And I think, well, I know Matt and I for the last 5 years have been beating the drum about stage design a lot, and a lot of other people have too. Like we've gotten a lot of people going to Europe now. We've been talking people into it. Hey, go check this out. And
I still think like a ratio would not be a bad thing.
I would go 1-1-1 or maybe 1-2.
I think that's the best. Yeah,
I would like that a lot.
1-1-2.
No, 1-2-1.
1-2-1. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I like that actually.
2 mediums and a long.
Yeah,
cool.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I would like that, but yeah, that would be my read on it, and I think we're pretty much on the same page. I mean, I have started. I'm not a fan of IDPA necessarily.
Yeah, how the fuck does he get IDPA is better?
Well, no, here again. I know where he's coming from because, okay, like let's say the simple, like if you're building an IDPA stage, you don't need as much stuff to do it, and you have kind of more freedom in a way. So if I'm like, hey, you have to drag this dummy from here to here and then shoot that stuff. I mean, dragging a dummy and like shooting one-handed. So that, I mean, yeah, that's a hokey, like, I get it. That's like some tactical stuff that whatever. But from a shooting perspective, dragging a heavy thing and shooting one-handed, that's an interesting shooting challenge. And you can really easily create that in IDPA with that rule set. And people kind of like that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's easy to do. In USPSA, I mean, and for good reason, we would look at that and be like, blah, blah, blah. There's all these different issues, like competitive equity issues and stage side. Like there's all sorts of reasons that you don't see that stuff in USPSA matches. But if you're just like, what is the shooting challenge? And I look at it just that way. And I don't really, the guy doesn't care how they dress it up, then I can see why he would think that. I understand. I don't necessarily want that stuff at a USPSA Nationals, but I understand why you'd like it. Yeah. Is that it? Have we beaten this into the ground?
Another bang up podcast, I'd say.
Yeah, Joel, I want you to talk some shit about USPSA right now.
No, okay. I don't think it would change anything, so no.
It would amuse us.
That's true.
Wading into controversy, Joel. I love it. It is. What's up with that? It's time to end. If you have any questions that you'd like discussed in the podcast, go to bensteger.com. Email me your question, and we will talk about it. That's all we got.